I want to thank you for inviting me here tonight and to join you on traditional lands of Treaty 7. On behalf of Premier Rachel Notley and all my colleagues in government, it's great to be here and to bring greetings to wrap up a successful conference. And with that, I do want to acknowledge I'm joined by one of my colleagues from the Alberta Legislature. MLA Gottfried is here with us tonight. Thank you for joining us. And he's doing a great job being my shadow critic, following me from conference to conference. And as well, I do want to recognize that there are over 120 elected officials here from mayors, reeves, and councillors, and so I would love to call you all by name, but we would be here all evening. And so I also want to start by thanking and personally congratulating tonight's award recipients, as well as all the organizations and individuals who were nominated. And I do want to extend my appreciation to Repsol for hosting and putting on this wonderful evening, along with many of the other sponsors. So thank you to all of you. So I'm already doing this where I'm pulling myself off my own speech. I make the joke, but I actually do this quite regularly, and so I'll weave in and out of what's written, and I think it's just a lot more fun to talk off the top of my head. But getting back to the award recipients, and every nominee, quite frankly, is proof of the fact that Albertans are amongst the most entrepreneurial and forward-looking innovators in the world. And this is something that we should all celebrate. I have no doubt that that selecting tonight's winners from such a talented pool was a difficult task. I think we would all agree the real winners are the communities, businesses, workers, and families who benefit from all of your achievements. And so again, congratulations to all of you. Being here at my first conference with you has special meaning for me as EDA's honorary patron, and especially in these challenging economic times. There's no minimizing the impact that the collapse in global oil prices is having on our families, our workers, our entrepreneurs, and investors. But while Alberta's economy has experienced a major setback, I know that this is something that we can and we will recover from. The attributes that will get us through our economic challenges are summed up in this year's conference theme: resilience, renewal, and reinvention. Those same attributes are also mirrored in our government's economic plan. We have a responsibility to lead the province onto a new path. And in choosing that new path, we know that there are things that we can't control and things that we can. We can't control the global price of oil. And despite what the opposition says, Premier Notley is powerful, but not that powerful that she sets the international price of oil. But we can control how we respond to it. Our priority is to help Alberta get through this downturn and position the province for future prosperity. It's clear that Albertans need an economy that is resilient to energy price swings, captures the full value of our resources, and offers prosperous futures for our children. To do this, we've set out a strong economic jobs plan that includes investing in infrastructure, working with the private sector to create jobs, focusing on diversification with an emphasis on innovation and adding value, enhancing business access to capital, and improving market access for Alberta's products, including getting a pipeline built. And I would argue getting pipelines built in both directions. Each of these elements is based on the right policies and will help us build a more resilient economy so that it generates and sustains good, stable jobs and attracts renewed investment. And this evening, I'm going to highlight exactly how we are going to do that. We've already taken aggressive action with our first provincial budget last October. The budget made a $34 billion commitment to needed infrastructure that will also keep and retain skilled jobs. It made more than $2 billion in venture capital available to small and medium-sized businesses and companies with growth potential through ATB Financial, the Alberta Enterprise Corporation, and AIMCO. It reintroduced the Summer Temporary Employment Program, known as STEP, and even expanded its parameters. And it created my Ministry of Economic Development and Trade as a one-stop shop that takes a cross-government approach to diversifying the economy and supporting Alberta businesses, promoting science and innovation, and enhancing trade and investment opportunities in new international markets, and building on our existing markets. In fact, I just got back from a trade mission to China and Korea, where I met with key industry and government leaders to highlight Alberta as one of the best places to do business, and quite frankly, to highlight that Alberta is the best province to do business in. And shortly I will brag about our province. This is good news for Alberta's businesses because we are known for our entrepreneurial spirit and healthy small business landscape. 95% of all businesses in the province are small businesses, and together they're responsible for 28% of Alberta's GDP, as well as 35% of all private sector employment in the province. Alberta is also fortunate to have vast energy resources, a thriving agricultural sector, a vibrant high-tech sector, and forward-thinking companies. And I also absolutely need to add on a thriving forestry industry. But also the expertise, strategies, and innovative technologies and growth potential of investors and growth potential that investors and partners are looking for. We maintain the lowest overall taxes in Canada, world-class infrastructure, and a highly skilled, highly educated workforce. As a proud Albertan, I made sure our international partners heard this message loud and clear. My Asia mission focused on forging new partnerships, expanding existing trade markets, and promoting investment in Alberta's energy, agriculture, forestry, tourism, and petrochemical sectors. It was a successful mission that resulted in 2 signed MOUs, one with the Shanghai Municipal Commission of Commerce and the other with the Korean Importers Association. And to frame this for you, the Korean Importers Association has, let me rephrase this. Alberta is the only province in Canada with a signed MOU with the Korean Importers Association, and there are only 2 states in the US that have a signed MOU. So we are the 3rd in North America that have now a direct link with the Korean market and Korean importers. I'm looking for the water and I'm like, well, this is half full, depending on how you look at it. So. Austerity, we're cutting back on water. The other thing that my trade mission did was we opened a brand new office in Guangzhou, which is the business hub of southern China. And I stood up in the legislature yesterday and talked about, to put the city and the province of Guangdong into context, Guangdong is responsible for 1/5 of China's overall GDP. They are one of the economic engines of China and very comparable to Alberta and our relationship with the rest of our country. And so absolutely critical that we have an office in Guangzhou, not only to help attract investment dollars back into Alberta, but quite frankly, working with Alberta-based companies, looking at expanding our markets and going into China. And our office in Guangzhou will play a very critical role in that. And of course, because I pulled myself off my speech, the next line doesn't really make a lot of sense, the pace that I'm going. But what I will tell you is that Alberta communities will have the support of next week's budget. And I've alluded a few times, and of course I'm really bad at keeping really good secrets, but our budget next week is going to be of significant interest, especially to everyone in this room. Our 2015 budget focused on economic development and growth and diversification. Our budget next Thursday has jobs and the economy at the center and at the heart of our budget. And so, to let out one little secret, there will be no tax increases or any changes to government revenues, and Alberta will continue to have the lowest taxes in Canada. Next week's budget will include specifics on the next stage of Alberta's economic plan. While we wait for the budget, the speech from the throne clearly stated that our government will continue to support job creation and economic diversification. 3 of the 5 themes in the throne speech focused directly on the economy: diversifying our energy markets, pursuing a coherent and effective economic strategy, and investing in greener and more sustainable economy. These themes come with solid actions. To diversify our energy markets, we will continue to engage with governments on pipelines. And as I was saying to my friends here at the table, every opportunity that I have when I talk to my provincial counterparts and my federal counterparts, regardless of the purpose of the meeting or the conversation, I talk about the urgency and the need for us to get our product to Tidewater. And again, not just Energy East, not just going west, we need pipelines in all directions. And in order, and continuing with diversifying our energy markets, we will continue to show leadership on climate change. And I want to add this in briefly because my trade mission to China was quite eye-opening in the sense that I worked in China about 12 years ago. And I can tell you that China is completely reinventing itself. And it's gone from a mindset of made in China to a mindset of created in China. And so they are aggressively pursuing value-added opportunities, similar to what our government is doing here in Alberta and the path that we're on. But what I found fascinating was one of the number one priorities of every meeting I had with every Chinese official, whether it was at a municipal level, a provincial level, or with their national government. Climate change and environmental stewardship is at the top of their list of priorities. And so if we think that China is miles and miles behind North America as far as emissions and greenhouse gases, they have hit the accelerator on really placing an emphasis on environmental stewardship. And I can tell you that they were aware of our climate leadership plan here in Alberta and want to work with us to further develop our clean tech sector. The other thing that we did was work towards a permanent and effective and predictable energy regulatory regime. A new energy efficiency agency will help businesses and communities reduce their carbon emissions, and we will seek advice from a new oil sands advisory group. To take action on diversification and job creation, we'll expand access to workforce and skills training and retraining, and implement our modernized royalty regime. The speech from the throne also highlighted a new Promoting Job Creation and Diversification Act that will be of special interest to you. It will help my ministry engage on business support and workforce development and in a more vigorous economic development planning process. And I had the opportunity to speak to our RETAs earlier this afternoon and made it clear that our government is and wants to work in partnership with you and recognizes economic development in all corners of our province. And we are standing up a new Energy Diversification Advisory Committee. For those of you that have talked to me, I've never been able to get this title right. But this is a panel that is going to be engaging with Albertans, with you, with our industry leaders, to look at a wide range of initiatives to enhance value-added products here in Alberta. Minister McQuaig-Boyd and I are working closely together on the petrochemical diversification program. which will help spur investment and growth in our petrochemical sector, capitalizing on growing global demand for petrochemical products, everything from detergents and fertilizers to plastics and textiles. The third theme in the speech from the throne is investing in greener and a more sustainable economy. Think of it as putting the eco in our economy to benefit job creators, workers, and Alberta families. We're working on legislation that will help implement Alberta's climate leadership plan and its opportunities for innovation, business growth, and diversification. Watch for a major energy efficiency plan for homeowners and larger groups, including municipalities, and investments in clean technology. The key theme here is that we want to work together to find solutions to protect our health, our economy, and our environment for future generations. And this is the approach we'll be taking as we explore options for transitioning off coal emissions to cleaner sources of energy. Over the coming months, we will make sure to work with industry and our stakeholders to determine our best way forward. Transitioning off coal-fired generation is a complex challenge. That's why we've asked Terry Boston, the retired head of North America's largest power grid, to lead discussions with coal-fired electricity generation owners. While this is a necessary step to protect our health, environment, and economy for future generations, we also understand that this is not an easy time for coal communities and workers. That is why we made such a strong commitment to engage with affected workers and communities and municipalities to support their long-term economic sustainability through this transition. My ministry will be leading efforts to ensure ongoing support for coal communities and workers. And in the coming weeks, we'll be sharing more details on our plans to engage with these communities. Through this throne speech and the budget, our government is laying out an aggressive plan to support job creators and workers in a more diverse and dynamic economy. And that includes strong partners in agriculture, forestry, and tourism sectors. And on this note, I've often spoke of diversification. You may have heard that word thrown around. For some people, they absolutely love that concept because maybe they're thinking of your own investment portfolios. You don't invest all of your retirement savings in one sector, in one company. You have a diversified approach. Yet for others, they think diversification, failed attempts of past governments to throw a wad of money at a new sector that doesn't exist, and 99% of the time it fails. For our government, diversification is building on our strengths. It's looking to our agriculture, our agri-food sector, our forestry sector, tourism, and looking at leveraging each of those. And so I'm working closely with the Agriculture and Forestry Minister, Collier, because there is tremendous potential for success in agri-food processing. And I can tell you that on my trade mission to China and Korea, that was probably the #1 topic that came up, was looking at opportunities for us to expand our export capacities. And I can tell you that as China is rapidly growing and their middle class is rapidly growing, there is a demand for high quality, safe food products from Canada and from Alberta. Our beef is in demand, and we will continue to work with you, our processors and producers through our offices, and look for opportunities to increase our capacity and ability to enter into the Chinese market and grow our market share. There are also opportunities to explore in secondary manufacturing, such as panel and modular housing and engineered wood products. Culture and Tourism Minister Miranda and I are working closely on boosting tourism in Alberta. Tourism contributes $8 billion to our economy and sustains almost 19,000 businesses that support over 125,000 direct and indirect jobs. And the opportunities for growth in this industry are tremendous, especially right now given the low Canadian dollar. So you can see, wherever you look in our great province, we all have a role to play in building a strong, diversified Alberta economy we can all count on. And through the collaborative efforts of the Regional Economic Development Alliances, as well as our very own rural Alberta business centers, there are many opportunities for us to build on our strengths and explore new avenues of success. The strong partnership between economic developers of Alberta and my ministry gives us a great foundation to build on. I look forward to working with you on new initiatives as we continue to expand Alberta's economic development options for a more diverse and greener economic future. It is the resilience that we have shown together through past economic downturns and our current economic downturn that defines us as Albertans. We don't just see the challenge, we see the opportunity that can exist within the challenge. Our province is blessed with an overlap of a highly developed post-secondary system, a highly educated population, a strong public sector, and a very engaged energy industry. And we believe the many steps that are already underway will help create jobs and our economy. Alberta's endlessly innovative spirit should never be underestimated. And I would argue that Alberta continues and will remain the best province to start and grow a business and to invest in. I look forward to working with you on developing the economy in all of our communities for a stable, prosperous, and resilient future. And as I was saying to Todd Hirsch earlier tonight, if this speech was in 2 weeks from now, I could talk at length of all the initiatives that we are going to be rolling out next Thursday through our budget. But unfortunately, you're going to have to wait for next Thursday. Thank you very much.